Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. It's time to take a look at the best decks in Hearthstone. I last took a look at the best decks in Hearthstone 3 weeks ago, and compared to that list, there's still 6 great decks here. 5 of them are the same archetypes as they were 3 weeks ago. 1 archetype Token Druid has fallen off the top 6, and 1 archetype Control Priest has been added. And the internal order has changed somewhat, but let's go take a look at the decks themselves. First of all, there is Secret Rogue. Secret Rogue has fallen a couple of positions, it's now currently number 6. It's the exact same list that I featured 3 weeks ago. Nothing has changed in that regard. The best part about Secret Rogue right now is that it has a pretty decent matchup against Paladin, and Paladin is really popular and really strong, so having a good Paladin matchup is an advantage. It also has a good matchup against Priest, and Priest has been becoming more common recently, so being able to wreck some Priest is always an upside. However, its weak matchup against Warrior, another deck that is rising in popularity, means that overall Secret Rogue's position has not improved. Coming in at number 5 is Control Priest. I recently made a video of my recent Control Priest list, which also was a Flesh Giant list like this one. There are a lot of Flesh Giant lists that people are experimenting with now, and they seem to be slightly better than the other Control Priest lists. Unfortunately, most of them don't have good statistics available yet, so I'm featuring this deck even though it has bad cards like Serena Bloodfeather. Please don't craft that card for this deck. But this is the most popular one, so this is the only one that has a reliable sample size, and just the Flesh Giant package itself is already stronger than the other Priest packages. The deck is strong against most aggressive decks, Paladin goes toe-to-toe with it, it's strong against Warrior, another deck that has risen in popularity. Its main weakness is Warlock. Warlock matchup is around 10 to 90 in favor of the Warlock, but luckily there are not that many Warlocks around anymore, which means that Priest is finally capable. Because previously there were enough Warlocks around that even though Priest was doing fine against many of the other classes, just facing like 15% Warlocks and losing 90% of those games already made the class unviable. But the meta has become a little bit kinder for Priest, and yeah, now you can go with this one. No Minion Mage is still around. It usually doesn't run Deck of Lunacy anymore, Deck of Lunacy is kind of old-fashioned. Instead, the latest builds are adding Shooting Star, and more Shooting Stars the better. The list with 2 Shooting Stars are significantly better against Paladin than lists with 1 or 0 Shooting Stars. So that's the main innovation for this archetype recently. It still doesn't become a Paladin killer, but having a better matchup against Paladin means that the overall win rate of the deck is up a bit. It's also strong against Priest, which is becoming more common, so that's great. And while it's weak against the fastest of the aggro decks, they are not that popular right now. Face Hunter still remains a good option. This is the exact same Face Hunter list that I featured 3 weeks ago. There have been no real innovations in the archetype. People have been trying a few things, like Wriggling Horrors have been attempted, for example, but those results on those have not been very good. So it seems that this is still the way to go with Face Hunter. Face Hunter can still punish a lot of classes, but it has a trio of weaknesses: Paladin, Rush Warrior, Priest. And those are pretty bad weaknesses to have in the current meta, so even though you can punish many other archetypes severely, having those weaknesses has dropped Face Hunter down a little bit. Number 2 is Rush Warrior. 3 weeks ago I placed Rush Warrior as number 4 as the dark horse, the upcoming, maybe it's going to be something, maybe it's not. Well, it turned out to be something. Strong against many of the more aggressive decks, strong against Paladin. Its main weaknesses are Priest and Warlock, and while there are much more Priests around now, there are much fewer Warlocks. So the number of bad matchups hasn't changed much for Rush Warrior, and Rush Warrior is just good right now. I play a lot of off-meta decks, so one thing to note about Rush Warrior is that almost all control decks just farm this archetype. But I hope there will be so many Rush Warriors that playing control would actually be viable in the future. But control decks have many other weaknesses, so that's unlikely to happen. And against what's really in the meta, Rush Warrior is just good. However, there is one deck that's even better, and that's still Secret Paladin. Secret Paladin is just simply, it's phenomenal. It's aggressive, it can win games out of nowhere with Crab Riders and buffs. It has a lot of good mid-game threats, Hammer of the Gnar, then even Electra the Lifewinder, and it has Oh My Yogg. That just completely nullifies any spell that you attempt to use to beat it. The best part about Secret Paladin is that it really doesn't have any really bad matchups. Secret Rogue is the worst matchup for Secret Paladin, and that's maybe like 40-60. So when you're playing Secret Paladin, you always have a chance. Every game you go into, you can always win it. And that makes Secret Paladin the best Hearthstone deck, still.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.